Question number 126. Amount of water to be used in photosynthesis and plant growth is first equal to the amount of water absorbed, second absorbed by active transport mainly, third removed mostly by guttation in woody trees, fourth less than 1% of absorbed water. See first option, equal to the amount of water absorbed. No. In case of photosynthesis, a very little amount of water is used. Most of the absorbed water is lost in the form of transpiration. So this option is ruled out. Absorbed by active transport mainly? No, water is mainly absorbed by passive transport. A very little water is absorbed actively by root pressure. So this option is also ruled out. Third, removed mostly by guttation in woody trees? No. This option is also ruled out as woody trees do not remove mostly water by guttation. They remove most of the water by transpiration. So, less than 1% of absorbed water? Yes. In photosynthesis, plant use only 1% or even less than 1% of absorbed water. So, the correct option for the given question is option number 4. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 127. Select the incorrect statements. Statement A. Older dying leaves export most of their mineral content to younger leaves. B. Sulfur and calcium are frequently remobilized from senescing parts. C. Ions are absorbed from the soil by both passive and active transport. D. A C3 plant loses only half as much water as a C4 plant for the same amount of CO2 fixed. Option 1. A, B and C. Second, only A and C. Third, only B and D. Fourth, all except C. So see the statements one by one. A is older dying leaves means the senescing leaves export most of their mineral content to the younger leaves. Yes, because plants want to conserve their energy. The mineral nutrients which are present in the senescing or the dying leaves, they are exported to the younger leaves. So this statement is correct. B. Sulfur and calcium are frequently remobilized from senescing parts. No, they cannot be remobilized from senescing parts to the other parts, as calcium is the structural component of many parts of the cells, and sulfur also cannot be remobilized from the senescing parts. So this statement is incorrect. C. Ions are absorbed from the soil by both passive and the active transport. Yes, true. By both passive and active transport, the ions can be absorbed from the soil. D. A C3 plant loses only half as much water as a C4 plant for the same amount of CO2 fixed. This is again incorrect statement. Why? Because it is the C4 plant which loses only half as much water as a C3 plant. That's why C4 plants are highly adapted for the arid and the dry regions. So two statements are wrong, B and D. So the correct option for the given question is option number 3. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 128. According to mass flow hypothesis, A. Sucrose is moved into the companion cells and then into the sieve tube by passive transport. B. Inside the phloem, an osmotic pressure gradient is generated that facilitates the mass movement in the phloem. C. Water in the adjacent xylem moves into the phloem by active process. Option 1, A and C are correct. Second, B and C are incorrect. Third, A and C are incorrect. Fourth, A and B are correct. Find these statements whether they are correct or incorrect. Statement A. Sucrose is moved into the companion cells and then into the sieve tube by passive transport? No. During the loading of the phloem, according to mass flow hypothesis, sucrose is moved into the companion cells and then into the sieve tube by active transport. Loading and unloading of the phloem both are active processes, not the passive. So this statement is incorrect. B. Inside the phloem, an osmotic pressure gradient is generated so that there will be movement in the phloem. Yes, it is correct. C. Water in the adjacent xylem moves into the phloem by active process. No, it moves by passive process. So it's a passive process. So statement A and C are incorrect. So the correct option for the given question is option number 3. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 129. Water potential in a cell. First option is always 0. Second, depends upon solute and pressure potentials. Third is positive in a cell with high solute concentration. Fourth, do not regulate the movement of water molecules from one cell to another. Before dealing with this question, you should know that water potential can be written as psi W, and water potential is 0 for pure water, the water which is free from solutes, which does not have any kinds of solutes, so that has 0 water potential. Now, water potential in a cell is always 0? No. In a cell, there will be some solutes, so it cannot be 0 because 0 is only for pure water. Second, depends upon solute and pressure potentials. Yes, because psi W can be calculated with the help of this formula, that psi W is equal to psi S plus psi P. Psi S is solute potential and psi P is pressure potential. Hence, psi W depends on psi S plus psi P. So this is correct. Water potential is positive in a cell with high solute concentration. It cannot be possible, as you can see that the maximum water potential for a pure water is 0. When you add some solute, it will be negative, not the positive. So it is incorrect statement. Fourth, do not regulate the movement of water molecules from one cell to another. No, water potential regulates the movement between the cells. So this is also incorrect. So the correct option for the given question is option number 2. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 130th. The process of facellated diffusion different from active transport due to: first option, involvement of membrane proteins. Second, its response to protein inhibitors. Third, being a downhill process. Fourth, saturation of transport. In case of facellated diffusion and active transport, there are some similarities and some differences. Facellated diffusion is diffusion of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. So this is a diffusion along the concentration gradient, but active transport is the transport of molecules from their lower to higher concentration. So this needs ATP, and this is the transport which is against the concentration gradient. This type of transport is called uphill transport, and when the transport is along the concentration gradient, it is called downhill transport. The facellated diffusion and the active transport both involve membrane proteins. So the process of facellated diffusion is different from active transport due to involvement of membrane proteins. No, both involve membrane proteins. Second, its response to protein inhibitors. No, both response to protein inhibitors. Being a downhill process. Yes, because facellated diffusion is along the concentration gradient, whereas active transport is against the concentration gradient. Hence, the facellated diffusion is downhill, whereas the active transport is uphill. Fourth, saturation of transport. Because both involve membrane proteins, there is saturation of transport in both of the transports. So the correct option for the given question is option number 3. Let's move on to the next question.